Guinness World Records is here today at Port Lympne Hotel and Reserve in Kent, and we're very lucky to have the animal director on hand to show us around. Simon, lovely to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Can you tell us a bit about your role here at Port Lympne?
I'm in charge of sort of the animal side of the business, as far as seeing what new animals we get in, what we're doing with our current animals, how we build new enclosures, what we look into sort of conservation abroad, that kind of thing really.
And roughly how many species do you have living here at Port Lympne?
We've got about 70 species and over 1,000 animals here at Port Lympne. Here at Port Lympne Hotel and Reserve, we're always looking at reintroduction programs for our animals, and with cheetah it's something that we're looking at the moment, with the possibility of sending some back to South Africa soon. These are the fastest mammal on land. They've hit a top speed of about 62 miles per hour. The whole reason that cheetahs exist is because they can run incredibly fast, and that's how they take down their prey. To care for cheetahs is great. I mean, they're a fantastic species that we can do lots of enrichment with. Being able to give them sort of huge spaces is what's very important as well. We want to be in a position where we can offer them areas to actually run and hopefully hit their top speeds of about 60 miles an hour. As far as how we look after the cheetahs here, some of the challenges are that you've got to keep males and females separate when they're not being bred. Finding the space for them, making sure that there's enough space for these animals so that we can get them up to their speeds. The other thing we've got to look into is, of course, the food. We've got to make sure they've got a good variety of food for them available. And because we're not in Africa, so we're in a colder climate, so we have to have nice big sheds that have actually got a good temperature inside them. Here in this country, I mean, in the wild they'd be taking down antelope across the border, sort of small antelope up to impala, all that kind of stuff. Whereas here we feed things like rabbits and chickens and some horse and stuff like that, really. We've been breeding them here for many years. We're hoping that the future will hold reintroduction for these animals, that we can actually put them back into Africa at some point. These are the Andean bears behind us. These are known as the most southerly bears in the world. With the Andean bears, they have a tendency to be more relaxed in the winter. They go into what is like a semi-hibernation. Essentially, they get more lazy and they're sort of more relaxed in the winter months. They've sort of built up their supplies ready for the winter months, and in the summer they're a lot more active, doing a lot more. We've been known to go swimming. We have a nice big house where they can get away from everybody. We also have loads of areas within here where they can go and hide. It's about making sure that you can have as natural environment as we can in this kind of situation. Bears in captivity have always suffered from possibly stereotyping in the past. By supplying them with as much natural environment as we can, lots to do, lots of enrichment, you make sure that you're trying to avoid that. I mean, it's something that's quite modern with bears. Like here, we could do 5, 6, 7 feeds a day, just little feeds to make sure that they're kept occupied. These bears get a variety of food. Like I say, they like everything. We give them monkey nuts, we give them mealworms, we give them eggs, we give them small bits of meat, stuff like rabbit and chicken. They're a great animal. They're incredibly good to watch. There's always stuff going on. This is a breeding pair, hopefully. I mean, again, they're very young at the moment, so we're hoping that in the next couple of years that we will have cubs, which will be very exciting. These are two Amur tiger sisters. They're Amber and Amura. These are the world's largest wild cats. They're very, very tall, particularly powerful. They come from sort of right up into Russia near the Amur River. They were the Siberian tigers, what they used to be known as. They're an amazing predator, and they're just a wonderful animal. When it comes to Amur tigers, we try and look at as much of the natural environment as we can. We've got a vast enclosure here with lots of planting up in it, loads of trees, a couple of sheds. I mean, the one advantage of Amur tigers is they come from a very cold area, so essentially they're quite used to our climate and they adapt very well. They're great swimmers, they love going in the water. We've got plenty of areas for them to climb, and we sometimes do ice bloodsicles, as they're called, so that we can actually feed them stuff during the summer. We do as much as we can. Tigers you have to be very careful with. The temperament of these can go up and down depending on the day. Essentially, they are very dangerous animals. This is why you've got to be very careful around them. The numbers are declining in the wild, and again through deforestation, a lot of hunting. I mean, these are hunted quite a lot, especially for China, for the bones and that kind of stuff. So it's very important that we continue with the breeding success that we've had here. Behind me here we have capybara. They're the world's largest rodent. Essentially they come from the Amazon basin. They've been known to sort of, they're actually pretty much semi-aquatic. They spend a lot of their day in the water. They live in big herds. You can have herds of up to kind of like 60, 70 animals sometimes, even up to 200 it's been seen. They're quite calm generally here. They're good for mixed exhibits. We've got vicuna, rhea, Brazilian tapir, all in the same enclosure. It works very, very well together. Good thing about capybaras is they're quite easy to keep. They need a lot of water. You've always got to make sure they've got plenty of stuff to eat, because they have to keep their teeth worn down, because they're like, as they're a rodent, their teeth grow continually all year round. Some of the challenges with capybara can be the breeding. They can have a lot of babies very, very quickly. We have a group of 14 here. Because we can't provide as much as they would eat in the wild, we kind of supplement their diet with root vegetables, lettuce, cabbage, that kind of stuff.
I look after Kingut, who is the Guinness World Records holder for oldest tapir in captivity. So Kingut was actually originally imported from Ragunan Zoo in Jakarta in Indonesia, and that was way back in 1992 when he originally came to Port Lim. So he's been here for a long time, about 27 years, and he is definitely one of the biggest characters of all the tapirs we've ever had here. He's very much human orientated, so he absolutely loves human attention and gets lots of fuss and cuddles every day. As with most animals, the sweet and delicious but not so healthy things are the favourites. So he does get a healthy, balanced diet, but he gets a few extra treats because he's special. So he gets things like apples and bananas, a little bit of bread. Of all the animals, not just tapirs, of all the animals I've ever worked with, he is one of the most memorable characters, and everyone who has ever worked with him loves him. He is so old, but he's in such good form. He's really loving life. He's really active still, and he just really enjoys every day, which is really good to see.
Behind me you can see the red pandas. These are incredibly cute and cuddly looking animals that aren't. They can be vaguely vicious. This red panda behind us is a young female. She's actually waiting for a new partner to arrive, and we hope to continue mating. She has had 2 litters before. She's a very successful mother. Come from China up into the Himalayas, in Myanmar and stuff and everything. They're actually quite rare. They're critically endangered, taken for meat as well in quite a few areas. For red pandas, the sort of things we're looking at is, again, you want a good environment. We want lots of trees, lots of climbing. They're very good at climbing, and also lots of bamboo. They're one of the few species that lives off bamboo, which is quite unique because bamboo's full of cyanide, so they're in a position where they eat almost enough poison each day to kill a human being. They're also part meat eaters. They have a tendency to sort of hunt small prey, things like rats and mice and that kind of thing. Quite unique. They're the world's first recognised panda. Here at Port Lim Hotel and Reserve, we've had red pandas for many years. So it's always nice when we get a pair and you can have the cubs sort of working together and you can see a group of about up to 4 in there. It's fantastic.
Our guys are pretty laid back. They all have different personalities. So we have some that are food orientated, and then there's some that don't really get involved, quite gentle in nature. Some are quite pushy, and they get lots and lots of branches. The evergreen oak is a particular favourite over winter. With our giraffes, they don't go out under 5 degrees just because they can't really cope with the temperatures that we have in England. So yeah, we keep them shut in under 5 degrees. The house is heated to around about 20 degrees, so nice and warm in there for them.